Hello, my name is Erica Edwards and I work for the Environmental Science Division at Tarleton State University, which is located in Stephenville, Texas. My purpose here before you today is to present to you my research conducted on the feasibility of two separate solutions to environmental destruction being created by Stephenville dairies. My hopes in presenting you this information is that you will understand the importance of funding one of these methods, given they could contribute to the overall success of your company in the future. This may leave you wondering, why does this matter to me? Well, Stephenville is home to over 200 dairies and home to over 25% of all the dairy cattle in the state of Texas. This is why it's named the #1 dairy county in the United States. That being said, Stephenville serves as the largest supplier of dairy produce to your company. So, the success of Stephenville's dairy production greatly influences the success of the Dean Food Company stocks. Before looking at the problem at hand, we must first look at the current waste management being utilized by the dairies, and this is something called dry waste system. In this system, dairy cattle are raised in open spaces. The waste is collected from these lots, piled up, and then transported to nearby farmland. This waste is then spread onto the soil, acting as a fertilizer. However, there is so much manure being produced in Stephenville that it can't possibly be absorbed by the soil. This leads to excess manure resting on top of the soil, becoming susceptible to wastewater runoff, which brings us to the problem being faced. There's a recent dispute between the city of Waco and the city of Stephenville, which is threatening the production of Stephenville's dairy industry. This is because the waste from Stephenville is getting into the Bosque River, emptying into Lake Waco, the primary drinking source of the city. This excess nitrogen and phosphorus present in the runoff is causing an increase in the food source of microorganisms that produce harmful bacteria. These harmful bacteria in the lake consume most of the oxygen and turn the water green. Scientists feel this is what is contributing to the death of the aquatic life and the reduction of the drinkable water. There's also the fear that these microorganisms contribute to cryptosporidium. Cryptosporidium is a disease-causing parasite passed through animal feces which causes intestinal disorders in humans. It is because of this that Waco is suing Stephenville to provide the funds needed given the increased water treatment necessary, as well as because of the environmental damages its waste runoff is causing. To the right here, I provided an image of the Bosque River watershed, as I felt this would help you see just how many people are in fear of being affected by this contaminated water. The cities of Hyco, Iredell, Clifton, and so on are between Stephenville and Waco, meaning they too would be affected. When it came to determining the feasibility of the two methods I researched, I based them off of the goals of your company and what your company is trying to accomplish. These criteria included the benefits the method would provide, the resources required, the cost, the potential problems, how desirable the method is, and above all, if it would be effective in the long run. The first method I observed was adding sodium carbonate to the manure. Adding sodium carbonate to the manure will decrease the amount of harmful bacteria present, which is E. coli. E. coli is a bacteria often found in animal feces that is harmful to humans when ingested, causing diarrhea, nausea, dehydration, so on and so forth. Sodium carbonate can actually be added directly to the manure holding, and once it's added, all presence of E. coli is gone within 5 days. A plus to this method is the fact that it only costs $10 per year per cow, proving it to be extremely affordable. This practice also doesn't require any special skill and very little input, although the problem does arise that too much sodium carbonate in the lake water could potentially be harmful to the aquatic life. Here's a little breakdown of the costs that can be expected when funding this method. The average daily dairy herd in the Stephenville, Texas is anywhere from 100 to 120 head of cattle. So when you take that number and multiply by the $10 per year, which is the cost of the sodium carbonate, you're looking at paying around $1,000 to $1,200 per year per dairy in the city of Stephenville. The second method I researched was the funding of conservation buffers. A conservation buffer is a strip of land and permanent vegetation designed to protect wetlands and bodies of water from runoff. The benefits of these conservation buffers include absorbing runoff water, controlling erosion into nearby waters, improving aquatic life, and removing things such as pesticides, pathogens, and sediment. The cost of these buffers range anywhere from $400 to $1,500, depending on how large they are and the vegetation utilized. The resources required are predominantly organic matter, which range from things such as trees to shrubs to grass. Although the problem does arise that building these conservation buffers require a substantial amount of resources and can get costly. There's also quite a bit of learned skill and work that goes into the construction. To the right here, I went ahead and provided a little diagram of the most basic conservation buffer that shows up top the farmland. In the middle is the section that absorbs the fertilizer and nutrients, and at the very bottom is a section of vegetation that pretty much serves as an anchor for erosion and shade for the water. Here is a little breakdown of each of the sections of the process of building a conservation buffer and the cost of each step depending on the vegetation utilized. This chart provides the information that building one of these can range anywhere from around $700 to $1,600. When comparing all of this data I collected, I was able to come to the conclusion that handling the situation will remove the threat to the production of Stephenville's dairies, which will directly relate to the production of your produce. Both actions did prove to be effective, although the constructing of conservation buffers requires a lot more input altogether. When compared side by side, it's the convenience and affordability that sets the sodium carbonate method above the other. It requires less work, less resources, less learned skills, and cheaper. Based on the conclusion I made on the feasibility of both actions, I would personally recommend the addition of sodium carbonate into the dairy manure. The environmental science faculty of Tarleton State recommend taking immediate action and working towards solving the problem at hand, and this action would be to fund the sodium carbonate in each of the Stephenville dairies. The staff and I would like to thank you in advance for your time and consideration, and please let me know if you have anything you would like to discuss further about the report or have any further questions, or even if you have questions about how to get started with this method. I provided my name, where I work, and my address to the left, just in case you need to contact me. Thank you for your time.